to our second anniversary of the opening of the Walkway Over the Hudson. I'm Elizabeth Waldstein-Hart, and I'm the Executive Director of the Walkway, and I've had the pleasure of welcoming some of you here personally and some of you over the phone and meeting you, and I'm just thrilled to be here. We have a great story to tell about the Walkway, and rather than me telling the whole story, I'm going to let some of our guests tell the story for us, because there's a lot to share. It's been quite an experience over the last 2 years. And I'm particularly happy to meet our new group of stewards. A lot of you know, and you'll hear about this wonderful public-private partnership that really gelled in order to make this, $30 million project happen, and we have what we have here today. You'll also hear that we have a lot more to do. And today, we are welcoming our stewards of the Walkway, our 9 new donors who've given at a substantial level and are being recognized for your contribution. We'll talk a little bit more about you later. So thank you to the stewards, and thank you for everybody for coming today. I also want to thank our public officials, and of course we have our Congressman Maurice Hinchey. And he's going to share a few words in a minute. We have our State Senator Steve Saland. We have the Chairman of the Board of the Walkway Over the Hudson, Sally Mazzarella. We have our former chairman of the board and Mr. Walkway, Fred Schaefer. Where's Fred? We have some other Walkway board members. If you just raise your hand, Bob Mallory's here, Pat Lichtenberg, Dan McLaughlin, Teresa Gill, Judy Moran. It's wonderful, thank you. And something special about this year's anniversary, and that we have, our history and our stories that you're going to hear is full of partnerships and collaborations. And one of the most exciting ones today is Kids Expo. Kids Expo is a 16-year-old effort in Poughkeepsie to help fund and support children's activities and organizations that support children and their families. So working with Sheila Appel and the other agencies, Ed Glisson, John Thoman of Abilities, so it's Abilities First, Jewish Community Center, the Mid-Hudson Children's Museum, and then this year Walkway. So the 4 agencies have combined, and there's a whole bunch of fun stuff going on the waterfront over in Warrius. But we thought this year how great we'll have things on the Walkway during our first anniversary, things down on the riverfront during Kids Expo. And in a couple years, when the elevator takes you back and forth on the waterfront, then we'll really be connected. So it's a new experience, a new partnership. Everybody in red shirts here is one of the Kids Expo volunteers, so I welcome you and thank you for coming. I also, before we start, want to recognize our sort of premier private donor, and that's the Dyson Foundation. And I won't say too much about the Dyson Foundation because we had a huge celebration on September 9th that a lot of you thankfully were there, and we had a great time. But we really honored the Dyson Foundation for stepping up and really bringing that private money and that private support and lobbying behind the scenes, supporting the whole Walkway staff and everything for how many years? 3, 4 years almost? Five, Diana says. So, and they're still here supporting us in many, many ways, and we truly appreciate it. So Diana Gurieva is here, the president of the Dyson Foundation. Thank you, Diana. And Teresa Gill is also with the Dyson Foundation and a Walkway board member. So thank you to the Dysons. We have some really great things that are going to be happening in the next few years, and some really great stories to tell, and some wonderfully energetic and challenging fundraising to do to meet that, and we're just happy that you're all here to help us do that. So right before I turn it over to Maurice, I just also want to thank our partners in the Walkway, which one is the Bridge Authority, the New York State Bridge Authority. They weren't able to come today, but as you know, they own the structure and will be helping maintain it over the next century. And of course, the state parks and the New York Office of Historic Preservation, of Recreation and Historic Preservation operates this park, this linear ribbon, cement, concrete ribbon in the sky. So they open it, they close it, they clean it, they just day in and day out maintain it. Steve Oakes is here. Steve is the park manager here. Steve. And the other staff is around in their green shirts, and we'll see them and we'll thank them, and we're a true partnership. You know, we're all about programming and raising the rest of the money and finishing the walkway, and they're all about keeping it open and active, and as we always try and call it, like Fred said, I think the friendliest park in the world. So hopefully we've got a good start. Okay, so I want to just introduce Maurice Hinchey. You know, he's our representative from the 22nd Congressional District, and I just want to say, most of you probably know Congressman Hinchey. He's a fierce advocate for the Hudson Valley and all of the things that makes the Hudson Valley special: tourism, agriculture, recreation, new business opportunities, this beautiful landscape that we have, saving the environment. And he's been instrumental from the beginning in helping to attract federal funding and attract support for the walkway. So Maurice, if you'd come up and share a few words, we'd love to hear.